Now, what is the topic of our today's video? We are going to be speaking about artificial intelligence and the Satanic Matrix agenda. Is artificial intelligence going to completely take over the planet in a controlled manner based on the individuals who are the real black magicians that run this planetary sphere? I have a strong understanding and a strong awareness of how things are going to unfold themselves in real time. And this is exactly what I'm going to be going into within this video. So if you want to know what is in store for the future, then I would highly recommend staying tuned for this video. I'll see you on the other side. We're talking about artificial intelligence, okay? There is more and more and more introduction of artificial intelligence that is currently taking place in our today's time, 2023. It's almost like at this point, every single month, there seems to be something new that artificial intelligence is able to do. Okay, I remember a very big one that really touched the mass collective was artificial art, AI art, which is extremely fascinating. It's really cool as well. But this was one that just hit the mass collective massively. I want to say somewhere around 4 months ago. Midjourney is an example. And now there's just all these different, other avenues of artificial intelligence and what it's able to do and how it's, able to do things that, a lot of humans can't even do. So with that being said, we're clearly in an age where artificial intelligence is here right now, and it's only growing as time goes on. And let it be known very clearly that the way that artificial intelligence is being released to the public is strategic, and it's being studied, it's being observed, it's being intentionally planned in regards to how it's unfolding itself, how it is being pushed into the mass collective. So how does this connect into what's to come? So there may be some people that think, the world itself right now is extremely corrupt. There's a lot of craziness that is clearly going on. We're due for a golden age. We're due for some change in a beneficial direction. Matter of fact, there's been a lot of people actually that have been hyped up thinking that there is a golden age that is right around the corner, meaning all the corrupt individuals who are in positions of power are going to start getting exposed and taken down and basically receive their end of the stick, receive their karma, so to speak. And I know that there was a lot of people, and there still is, who follow that notion and who really believe this. They may be coming from the mindset that's like, it can't get much worse, okay? After we saw the pandemic and we saw how everyone, basically just unconsciously listened to the government and trusted them 100%. People still in this moment are wearing masks in their cars, okay? Because they're so in fear about catching this virus or things in that nature. So a lot of people saw what took place with the pandemic and they think, oh my gosh, that was the threshold of how bad our society can get. That is the worst it could possibly get. So because it hit that ultimate low, the end of the system must be close. The end of the matrix must be close. The end of the corruption must be close. And there may be some truth to that, but what we call close could very well be hundreds of years in the future. Still, in the bigger scale of things, that's technically close, but it's not going to be in your lifetime. And I'm here to tell you now, I'm here to wake you up to the realization that things are going to get a lot more challenging and a lot more aggressive and worse for the mass collective, the individuals who have not really been solely focused on their soul's development. Things will get worse for this type or this class of person. When I say worse, I mean, once again, more challenging, more pressure, more resistance. We have not yet hit the breakthrough point, okay? And that time is not coming until most likely hundreds of years in the future. I'm talking somewhere from 500 to 1,000 years in the future. That's my personal prediction. And I think I'm pretty on point with that. So with that being said, we haven't even hit the artificial unfoldment. There's a big plan. There's a big agenda that is going to unfold within the mass collective. And I am very aware of this agenda. And I personally, being a black magician myself, am in complete alignment with the unfoldment of this agenda. I'm all for it. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's going to serve me. That's one of the perks to being a real black magician. But for those of you that are tuning in and are also wanting to understand what's to come, that's why I'm sharing this video, so that you can use this information and primarily serve yourself with it. So the artificial unfoldment is going to be the slow introduction of AI technology, leading up to the point where there is going to be installment within human consciousness. That installment is going to come through the form of neurochipping. Elon Musk is currently developing it as we speak. And there are going to be many other people that duplicate the technology if they haven't already figured it out yet, based on what Elon Musk is doing. There are going to be other corporations, other companies that use the same type of artificial intelligence, like the Neuralink. So this is the beginning stages of artificial intelligence starting to take over humanity. And when I say artificial intelligence is going to take over humanity, I don't mean in the way of iRobot. I don't mean in the way that literal robots are going to override the humans and run our planet. I don't believe that is going to happen. I think the human being is so much more intelligent and so much more powerful than a robot. Yes, robots or artificial intelligence may have different skill sets based on data that it can receive, but at the end of the day, a robot does not have a spirit or a soul, and that is a very powerful component when it comes to the human being and what we have access to with our physical bodies, our brain, and our consciousness. So we truly, hypothetically speaking, if it ever got to the point where robots were actually controlling our planet and overriding the human species, as humans, we have abilities to manipulate psychic energies that can actually affect artificial intelligence to control them completely. So we're never going to find ourselves as a human race in a predicament where robots are taking over our consciousness and running us. That's just what's promoted in the movies, through entertainment and, different types of TV shows and things like that, because there's an agenda behind it. There's a fear behind it. And that's what they want to promote, a fear of artificial intelligence, because it's that fear, that energy of fear that produces the value for those that are on the negative polarity, like myself. The more fear there is, the more energy I gain. Because when everyone else is in a state of fear and I understand what's actually taking place, there is no fear. And now I'm in a position of power because I'm not in fear. yet everyone else around me is in fear. And we're not even talking about the energetic components of feeding off of fear, literally gaining power and energy from others' fears and things of that nature. So this is what we do on the negative polarity. So the unfoldment is going to come through the form of the neurochip. I'm not the only one who picks up on this. Trust me, there must be other people that understand this, but this has yet to come. There are going to be small installments of different breakthroughs when it comes to artificial intelligence, and then eventually we will be introduced to the neurochip. I don't know when exactly it's going to come out. It could be next year, 2024, who knows? But eventually it will get to that point where we are so adapted to artificial intelligence that we will accept the neurochip. And it's going to first start with people that have certain types of illnesses and diseases and predispositions. And these are going to be the first people that have access to getting the neurochip, which is an installment within the brain that then can activate specific neurons, or maybe even stimulate and turn on certain neurons that bring function to areas on the physical body that previously may have been dormant. So there is going to be a component to this that is beneficial in some sense, beneficial in the sense of better physical function. And especially, I mean, if you're somebody who was born into this life with a disposition, an illness or disease, neurologically speaking, and now there's an option to get a neural link and have it fix that, that's very enticing. Now, the problem is, for the average person who falls into it, is that they don't necessarily know who is in control or who is in charge of the link that is being programmed into your consciousness. So clearly, I mean, we've all seen it in the movies. When there is an ability to control consciousness, there is an agenda behind it. There's somebody who wants domination. There's somebody who wants control over the technology. So you can imagine if you allow someone to neurochip your consciousness, even if it does give you some physical benefits or some emotional benefits in the short term, in the long term, now somebody may have complete control over your consciousness, meaning they may know how to manipulate that chip to produce a specific type of frequency that goes against your nature and serves the person who is controlling it. That is one of the unbeneficial side effects of getting the neurochip, if you're someone that would consider it. That's not even considering the fact that you're now artificially programming something into your brain, which is the epicenter for your spiritual communion, for your spiritual connection. So when things are done artificially in that way, literally, it is completely artificial. It's mechanical in nature. That's never a good thing. Never a good thing. Okay? Especially when it comes to consciousness. Specifically, I should say, when it comes to consciousness. That is not going to be beneficial by any means, because that can cause a massive disconnect between your actual soul and your spirit, because now you're interfering with the natural pathways and the natural energy body, the natural energy fields. Even if you were born into this life with a disposition and you're viewing the neurochip as being a saving grace, at the end of the day, you came into this life with that disposition for a reason. And it's your soul's purpose to live with that and to learn how to process with it and deal with it and understand it and go deeper, not just have a fix-all with a neural chip and then be saved or be better. So this is actually affecting karma too, the law of karma, cause and effect. It's like the same concept of you get really sick because you're very unhealthy, and then you go to the doctor and they say, here, take this pill, it's going to make everything better, as if this pill has an ability to erase your karma for making all the poor health decisions that led you to being unhealthy. There is no pill, there is no neurochip that can solve your problems instantly. And this concept comes into play from different lives. So you may be born with a physical illness because of a past life where you did something that was unbeneficial, that carried into a new incarnation. And now that's your catalyst. That's how karma functions. So I think it's important that I mention that, but the neurochip is going to be the agenda unfoldment. When that takes place, there are going to be a lot of people that start taking advantage of it because clearly it's going to be promoted. It's going to be strategic. It's going to be concise. There's going to be A-listers. There's going to be politicians. There's going to be influential people. You're going to have family members that start getting the neural link. It's going to be promoted in a very collective way. When I say that, I mean a very easygoing way. Oh yeah, 3-hour surgery tops, come in, get it done, you're good to go. Helps you work better, helps you sleep better, helps you think clearer, helps you make better logical decisions. It's going to be promoted like that. And yes, it may improve a lot of these things for a lot of people, but remember, it's going to interfere with the spiritual connection. It's literally going to interfere with your natural pattern ability to connect into the astral plane. Because now you're removing a portion of your own humanity, and you're replacing it with something that is artificially intelligent, something that is artificially able to stimulate neurons and wake up patterns within consciousness that previously should not be stimulated or should not be awake. Which once again carries the laws of karma with it. So this is going to happen at some point in time. I don't know exactly when it's going to start unfolding, but I know for a fact this is how it will start. Now, once again, there are going to be a lot of people that do it. A lot of people that say, chip me up, I'm ready for it. My life sucks anyways. I think most people are going to be in that type of space. Now, there's going to be another large portion of people that resist it and that say, you know what, this seems way too sketchy. I've seen what's gone down in our society. I've seen what's happened, on our planet. And I do not trust this. This is something that I'm not going to do because I don't even want to play around with my natural intelligence. I don't want to play around with my spiritual connection. I don't want to play around with my soul. Okay, I want to be a natural human. All right? So there are going to be people that do not take the neural link. And these people are clearly of the class of the wise. These are going to be the polarized people, whether it's the negatively polarized or the positively polarized, because the people that are truly on a path of real self-development, they're not going to get neurologically programmed. Why? Because everyone's intuition clearly says that's something you don't do. Everyone's intuition, if you have a connection to it, would tell you this is something you do not want to get yourself into. This is dangerous for your soul development. So you're either positively polarized or you're negatively polarized, and you're still getting that same intuition. This is why the people that unfold the neural link, and when I say the people that unfold it, I'm talking about the satanic agenda, the negatively polarized beings on this planet like myself. This is why we're not getting the link. We are going to promote the link to you because we want to create a society where everyone operates in harmony so that we can create our empires in a harmonious environment with everything serving ourselves. So if you think about it, think about this. You look at the world around you and you see chaos. You see people acting out of line. You see people arguing with each other. You see people being rebellious at their jobs, people being upset that they have to pay rent, and rightly so. A lot of these things are quite upsetting. Meanwhile, there are people that are printing money. There are people that are using psychic warfare on the mass collective, promoting even more chaos and generating money from it. There really is a principle behind that. And there are people like myself that are in positions of power, even though the majority of the planet is in a state of chaos and they're struggling every single day and they're making a bunch of unhealthy decisions, yet they don't take responsibility for their poor decisions. It's quite funny if you ask me, but at the end of the day, as I said, the reason why the neural link is being introduced is because this is going to create the majority of the human species to fall in line. So rather than people getting extra rebellious, or rather than people acting overly chaotic and not wanting to be a part of the system, a part of the matrix, when they get the chip, they are now completely in alignment with the matrix. They're going to wake up happy to go to their job. They're going to wake up happy to listen to orders and commands from people like myself. They're going to wake up happy to listen to what they're told to do on a daily basis. And there will not be a single thought that crosses their mind that says, why am I doing this? Do I really want to live this way? Is this what's best for my spirit and my soul? That's not going to cross their mind, because now they're not even a full human. They are now artificial intelligence. And once again, whoever controls the frequency of the neural links, whether you have the physical technology or you have psychic awareness on how to manipulate energy fields and frequencies coming from the chip itself, which is generally a machine, you can completely control consciousness. So the releasing of the neural link for people that are specifically on the negative polarity is an extremely beneficial thing and is not something that we should prevent from happening on the planet. This is our agenda. This is what we do. This is a part of our soul and our spiritual evolution. So you might as well take advantage of it. Think about it. All the people that you see once again in your daily life that actively try to come against you, all the people that argue with you because you have your own belief system and they don't understand you, all the people that are just in pure chaos and don't know how to get themselves out and don't even intend on getting themselves out, that can oftentimes get very frustrating to deal with on a daily basis or even be around. I mean, literally, like where I'm at now, it's a nice place where I live, but when I go to the market, I'm always dealing with crazy people everywhere I go. It's just life. I've been all kinds of places, and you don't have a lack of these types of people. They're everywhere. Chaotic people repressing everything in their unconscious mind. Well, imagine if these people are plugged into an artificial intelligence that causes them to act in a perfect way based on the perfect civilian. The perfect civilian. The perfect person who wakes up at a specific time, goes to work, doesn't complain, goes to the market, purchases mediocre food, comes back home, watches TV with their family, then goes right back to sleep and repeats the process over and over again, literally until the day they pass away. This is what the neural link is going to do. It is literally going to remove a lot of a random chaos on our planet, because it's going to give these individuals who take the chip basically a new being. It's going to give them a rebirth into artificial awareness, where they are now robots. They're not complaining anymore. They're not giving you a hard time anymore. They're falling in line, and they will literally serve you if you're someone on the negative polarity. They will be programmed to serve the negative polarity. So if you're on the path of service to self, you're now existing in an environment with so much more opportunity, so much more potential for growth. And slowly but surely, what we consider the mass collective, the general population, these people are going to be programmed in that way. A large portion. This will take many years to fully unfold. But in the beginning stages, I believe that this is happening. This is going to happen within the next 5 to 10 years. Personally, that's what I believe. Where it gets introduced and people start taking advantage of it. But as I said, eventually the entire general population will be programmed artificially, and they will be designed to serve those who are on the negative polarity, as I mentioned. And this is why, if you're someone who's on the negative polarity, you embrace the path. You embrace what is taking place. You first have to become aware of what's happening, why it's happening, and how can you take advantage of it personally. What does this actually mean for you? Because clearly we live in a world where everyone wants to rebel against this. Everyone's like, no, it's wrong, it's evil, we can't let them do this to us, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, everyone who receives the neural link, they're doing it completely with their free will. And there are a lot of people on our planet today that are, we could say, too far gone. They're so consumed by their sense of self-identity. They're so consumed by their egos that there really is no coming back. There is no switch around for them. Meaning there's no awakening where they realize, oh, I'm a soul and I'm a spirit, and I have to figure out how to evolve. I have to figure out how to get in further touch with that. Most people are too far gone from that point. I call it the point of no return. So you can imagine these people most oftentimes are in their mid-30s all the way up to as high as you can go. It's usually around the mid-30s when this starts to manifest, but definitely in the 40s to mid-40s is when it really starts to take place. If someone is not focusing on their spiritual self-development or just self-development in general, just going through the motions of society and everyday living, they reach a point of no return. And you can imagine most of these people who are at that position, they're clearly going to get the neural link. And they're going to be a lot more easy to exist among. They're going to just fall directly in line. They're going to listen to what they're told. They're going to follow the energy field of the negative polarity, which means, once again, if you're someone on the negative polarity, you have a specific emanation. Your energy field emits an energy that is different than anyone else on the planet. It's magnetic in nature. It's feminine in nature. And the neurochip will be designed to have the mass collective obey the negative emanation, the counterclockwise spin. This is where the negative polarity starts to really thrive on this planet. This is where I and you, if you're someone on this path, has a massive opportunity to build an empire. And everyone else on the negative polarity, which is few amongst many, but as this time unfolds, there's going to be even more people that embrace the dark side, that embrace the negative polarity. So this point in time is going to last for quite some time. It's going to last for quite some time, all the way up until the point where there is so much domination and there is so much control on our planet by beings who are on the service to self path that eventually there is going to be some sort of a cataclysmic event. There's going to be some sort of a apocalyptic event, eventually speaking. And this is something that is natural for the planet. This is not something that is like out of place or something that's not supposed to happen. This is something that is designed to happen. I mean, if you just look into the studies of the Younger Dryas, Graham Hancock, and how there's been planetary resets and things of that nature, there is a planetary reset that is in our near future. And when I say near, I mean probably a couple thousand years in the future, but that's pretty close. Okay, that's not that far away. It's not 30,000 years. It could be literally 2,000 years in the future from now. So there is an apocalyptic event that I personally believe will reset the planet. But before that apocalyptic event, I believe the negative polarity is going to be in a ultimate position of domination, an ultimate position of power. I mean, more than this planet. I don't know about more than this planet. I mean, I may be able to say that. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll go as far as saying more than this species, the human species, has ever seen before. The beings that are service to self are going to be in such a position of domination and control, more so than Atlantis. Okay, the city of Atlantis with the dark occultists and the dark Atlanteans, more than that. And this reign of the negative polarity is going to last for, I believe, a couple hundred years. Maybe longer. And eventually there is going to be some sort of event. Some sort of an event that is apocalyptic in nature, meaning it is a universal event. It's a planetary reset. And from that planetary reset, this is what essentially is going to be the great harvest. So all the structures that were built, all the programming, all the neural link, all that stuff is going to be obliterated. It's going to be wiped out. And this planet is going to have a clean slate. And it is officially going to be a complete fourth density planet, meaning it's time for fourth density souls to incarnate on the planet. So from that apocalyptic event, there was no more human beings on the planet. There's no more. The human species is done. It's extinct. But the planet is a fourth density planet, and our planet specifically is actually a positively polarized planet. And even when I'm talking about, our planet getting to a point where the negative polarity is in complete domination, that does not mean that there's not a lot of positively polarized people on the planet either, or at least a lot of people that are pursuing that path, because there are a lot of people that are pursuing the positive polarity. But just before there's any sort of a great reset or an apocalypse, there is usually a rise just before that event. Specifically with our planetary conditions, a rise of the darkness, a rise of evil, a rise of the negative polarity. Just before the apocalyptic event, and then it happens, the negative polarity is no longer able to incarnate on this planet, specifically Earth, because Earth is not designed for the negative polarity once it makes that complete energetic shift, which is followed by the apocalypse. So what that means is that Earth is now a clean slate for new fourth density souls to incarnate on. And the fourth density souls are going to be positively polarized. So this is what is considered the real golden age. And this is what a lot of people refer to as heaven. Everyone that was of the positive polarity who had the eligibility to graduate from third to fourth density has the opportunity to reincarnate back on this planet at a clean slate with the positive polarity. And within time, they can eventually form the social memory complex, the group soul. And that happens over time. So Earth gets reset. Now, everyone who is on the negative polarity now travels to a different negatively polarized fourth density planetary sphere. And there are specific planetary spheres that are already designated for the majority of those souls that are going to be transitioning from this planet to the next. And that is where the negative entities start to build their social memory complex with a clean slate of pursuing the fourth density negatively polarized. So that is my perspective in a very general nutshell of what's going to be taking place on our planet in the near and the long-term future, also including the artificial program, the artificial intelligence unfoldment. We haven't even seen the beginning stages of it yet. It's going to get intense. It's going to get very real. It's going to get very deep, and it's going to get very dark. But at the end of the day, this is naturally what happens. And if you're someone who's polarizing, whether positively or negatively, at the end of the day, this is all evolutionary in its nature. You understand it for what it is, and you allow evolution to play out the way that it naturally does, rather than trying to interfere and stress yourself out in the process of trying to push against a system that's already divinely structured to unfold. Imagine that, trying to go against natural law. Or going against natural law within your own self and getting chipped with the neural link. So whatever polarity you're on, there is value truly to gain because you're learning from observation. Now, truly, the negative polarity is going to have a primary time to thrive. So this is a great time for us on the service to self path, more so than what we've experienced in the past, because we're also living on a planet right now where the majority of the mass collective is completely programmed to not like people on the negative polarity. And that is by divine law. That's because they are intentionally programmed to resist the negative polarity. Because most people are not cut out for the negative polarity. They're not built for it. They're not made for it. And if they had the programming that led them to the negative polarity, there would be problems. There would be imbalances if most people were pursuing that path. So that's why the mass collective has a large misunderstanding towards what the negative polarity represents. But in our near to long-term future, we are going to see the negative polarity thrive even more than what it has been. Much more than what it has been. And it's going to get to a point where it's much more acceptable to the average human being to at least respect and understand. And you can see the subtle unfoldment of this taking place even in society in general. I mean, literally, I went to what was it? I think it was I was at a store. I think it was an Urban Outfitters. And I walked in and they had all kinds of occult symbolism that was blatantly clear. I saw, they had, I don't know if it was Urban Outfitters or something urban. I don't know, but it was a mainstream store. And I walk in and they have tarot decks that they're selling in a mainstream store, like tarot decks on the wall with books on how to read energy and things of that nature. And these are all occult in nature. These are very occult, very hidden, spiritual. but it's now promoted within the mass collective. And you can even just see it within the movies we're watching today with, Spider-Man in the multiverse of Spider-Man, the Ant-Man and the Wasp-Man, Universumania, or Quantumverse, Quantum Mania. And then you have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It's like all these movies are showing large amounts of occult symbols and just the symbolism that's getting programmed into the masses to be more accepting of magic, to be more accepting of the science of psychic energies. And once again, when the negative polarity gets to its peak, there are going to be a lot more people that actively accept it as a reality and accept it for what it truly is, rather than feeling this strong push against it and resistance to it. And that's not even including all the people that are going to get the neurochip who are just going to fall in line. They're just going to be programs. That's really what they're going to be. They're going to be strict programs that do what they're programmed to do. And that is, once again, really going to serve a lot of people on the path that I'm on. Okay? So this is less talked about information. I doubt you're going to hear anybody break it down the way that I broke it down, mainly because everyone is stuck in this false light paradigm where they think by the power of their mind they can believe something that's not going to happen and make it real. It's almost like, with certain things there are natural laws. And no matter how strong your mind is or how strong you think your mind is, you're not going to break the natural laws. So, for example, karma is a natural law, the law of cause and effect. That law is always in place no matter what you try to do to manipulate it. You can try to do things that prevent karma from taking place, but no matter what, karma is always going to manifest. Now, there's different degrees to how karma can manifest, but at the end of the day, it's always going to find a way to manifest. So these people that try to project an image for what they see for society's future that are in the love light, false light paradigm, they're projecting like the golden age. They're projecting happiness and joy for humanity. And they're trying to see that manifest quicker than when it actually will. Remember what I talked about in this video. That's not going to happen until the apocalypse, until the planet gets wiped out and the human species is literally gone. That's when the golden age starts with the fourth density, but not in this density. I promise you this. So they're trying to project the golden age sooner than when it's actually going to manifest. And that's basically like trying to use meditation to not be affected by the law of cause and effect. That's like someone eating extremely unhealthy foods every single day while also meditating very intentionally to not get sick or not get unhealthy. But regardless, the law of cause and effect is in place. So if you're eating unhealthy foods, no matter how much you're meditating to make sure you're healthy, you're going to get unhealthy, because that's going against the law of cause and effect. If you're eating unhealthy, that's the cause, and the effect is illness or disease. No matter what your mind thinks, you can manipulate. So you can't go against that natural law. And with this, once again, false light paradigm, a lot of people are they're fighting against natural laws until somebody like myself comes along and says, hey, look, this is what's actually going to happen. This is what's actually going to take place, rather than spending your time and energy trying to resist it and trying to change natural law. Just understand what's going to happen instead. Be the observer through this process and focus on your soul's growth. Whatever polarity you are, focus on your soul's growth. Use this to your advantage, because it's going to happen. You're not going to change it. You're not the hero. You're not going to change the circumstances. This is what the source programmed into this planetary sphere. We're all going to experience this. So that's what we're headed into. And that's, once again, going to be very different than these traditional spiritualists that you might come across on social medias. Okay, so that's some of the value you get from studying from a real black magician. Okay, we don't give a shit. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on, whether you like it or not. All right, and whether you accept it or not is completely up to you, and that's fine. I'm not here to change your mind by any degree or any means. Okay, so with that being said, this is where I'm going to wrap it up. If you enjoyed this video, come down here and hit the